As you know, Mountainside started about 14 years ago, and we currently have one of our primary ministry initiatives is the Immigration Resource Center. 14 years ago, I would have never in a million years dreamed that our church would have that or anything like that. And yet here we are. When we began, we wanted to be a church that loved our city, loved our neighborhood, and really concretely engaged with neighbors. And so we set out to do that. And really the new praxis was, how do we cross boundaries in our city and love our neighbors in really mutually beneficial and concrete ways? And so we got to know this youth organization in town that described themselves as an at-risk youth organization. And we kind of did what we knew how to do. We brought the resources we had, which was throw pizza parties and play music and games. And they did what they knew how to do, which was enjoy those experiences with us. Their parents provided a lot of great food, and we just had a really good time. From there, a new praxis began, and that was that we said, hey, why don't we worship together a little bit? And you bring what you do, and we'll bring what we do. And so 4 times a year, we worshiped together. And they came, and some of the kids did poetry, some of the kids did breakdancing, and we did what we did, which was provide a space for worship and Eucharist. And that was the new praxis. As the relationships developed over time, we got to know their stories. They got to know our stories. And ultimately, we discovered that many of them came from families who had family members who were undocumented. And so to love neighbor concretely and in a mutually beneficial way was to get curious about that aspect of their life. And so it pushed us into study, and we studied cultural resources. And we looked at our Bibles, and we read our Bibles in completely different ways, and we heard their personal stories. And then we learned about cultural resources in terms of the legal system, and so we began to explore that. And so the new praxis was coming alongside some of these families and helping them navigate that just as novices. That pushed us back into more study, more understanding, and just one thing led to another, and we had different events, partnered with different attorneys, to the point we learned that actually a nonprofit could become a legal service provider. And so that 5 years later became the new praxis for our church. So you can see the back and forth of praxis praxis throughout a story like that. And I think that's one example of how we've done it.